see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Any injury updates?
Yeah, we still have Juan Larios and Tino out of the squad, long-term injuries, and then Ainsley Maitland-Niles will test tomorrow morning, and then we will see if he's available and selectable for the game in the afternoon.
Are you a betting man? If you were a betting man on Ainsley, would you say he probably will be available?
Well, I don't know really. It's more the medical staff. I'm waiting their answer tomorrow morning.
So, if the Premier League table was based on the last 4 games since you've been in charge, you'd be in the European places. You'd be 6th in the table. That, I guess, sums up how well you and the guys have done recently.
Well, we don't lose a lot of times in working in those kind of table. As I said, in the month that I have been in charge, I'm very proud of what the boys have been doing, and we have some ups and downs, but the performance is strong. And the reality is the reality, and we still need to fight the relegation battle. So it's good that we make points in the last 4 games. We made very good performance in some of the games, but we still have a long way to go.
When you're winning at Stamford Bridge, when you're drawing at Old Trafford, what does that do to the belief and the confidence of the players?
Well, I hope it gives more confidence for the players and for everybody, for our fans, for ourselves. But as I say, sometimes the result is just one action and change. I'm very proud of the performance of the team in general, the way that they are working, the way that they are training every day, the way that they are behaving, the way they are playing together. So that put us in places to win football matches against any team in the Premier League.
Sometimes we hear a lot, don't we, about a new manager bounce. How do you stop this being just that? How do you keep it going?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's about habits, and it's about keeping doing the things that we have been doing for the last month, but also with the mentality to be 0.1% better every day. So it's not stopping now, it's not stopping today, so we are still trying to be better, and we will try to be better every single day from today until my last day here. So yeah, it has been good in a lot of terms, but we know we can do it much better, so we go for it.
You must see, though, a difference in the atmosphere, the positivity around the place, not just the players, but all the staff, compared to 4 games ago.
Well, yeah, I don't wanna compare. It will not be fair from my point of view. So I just see a team that can work together, and I see people, fans that believe that we can do it. And I see a good environment, and we are looking forward for the game tomorrow in St. Mary's. So I just see that a team that going to perform in front of the fans, and I just love the fact that we can do it all together.
A win tomorrow and you up to, I think, to 16th, unless you score a hat full of goals, in which case you'd be up to 15th, and a couple of wins and you could be right up there and towards the middle of the table. It's so tight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so tight, but we knew, and our chance when we got the team was to make the games difficult for the opponent and to look in our own performance, to control the things that we can control. I think we are doing that, and more than the 3 points tomorrow is for us to have the personality to bring our game into the game, to have a big performance, and if we do that, we're gonna have the chance to win the game. So that's more about thinking about what happened if 3 points or 1 point or 0 points, because at the end of the day, if you spend your time reading the table every single week, you get stressed by facts that you cannot control. So for us tomorrow is about how we can make the best game possible to win the game, and then after the game we will see.
You seem, obviously, injury, allowing suspensions, things like that, you seem to have settled on your kind of team you prefer, a style you prefer. How do you keep those players who now won't be involved so much happy?
Well, I think when we are talking everybody, professional player, coach, or any member of the technical staff, we are talking that you are part of the team. You need to get yourself involved. It's not a discussion, it's not out of point that even if you have not been selected for the squad, you are still involved in the team because you are part of the team. So the first point is individual. From the very beginning, I was very clear with everybody, not only with the players, that I need everybody on board. And in case that somebody feels that it is not for him, come to me, tell me directly, and then we will find solutions. But the players and the persons working right now, they need to be 100% in the couch. So this is one thing. The other thing is just to show everybody, as I said from the very beginning, being honest, being close to everybody, understanding the personal part of it, understanding the situations, and then trying to give them, especially for the players, the best opportunity to play, to train, or to be match fit when the opportunity will come for those ones that are not playing that much.
Are you popular? They're playing for you, these players, aren't they? For you personally.
Well, I don't know if they are playing for me. I think it's a question for them. I will do everything for them. That's what I can tell you.
Casemiro, everyone outside of people who support Man United and work for Man United agree that it was a red card. Were you surprised by Ten Hag's reaction to it?
Well, I mean, we all have our thoughts and we have our reaction. I was more surprised that everybody speak about the red card and don't talk about our performance. That was the biggest point for me. I think nobody praised us to make that competitive game 11 against 11, to play face to face against Manchester United in Old Trafford, to have chances to win that game. I think we were good, we performed well, and I think the history of Casemiro and all the things around that game went into that way. But I got the performance of my team, and I think generally has not been fair with how we played that game. So I will not comment about what Eric or anybody from Manchester United did. I will just say we did a good game, we did a good performance, and that counts for me.
And you're right, the red card stopped people talking about how good you were. Also, the abuse that Kyle got on social media, another reason why people weren't talking about your performance and the result. The club have reacted quickly, gone to the police, criticised social media. You back what the club have done?
Absolutely, we just realised immediately after the game that we have that situation, and I think the club had made a stronger statement everywhere, not only social media, in the places that you need to be. It's a stronger strategy and it's a good strategy, and I support my club in those moments. I think the discrimination cannot be part of the society, especially when I have a dressing room with 16, 17 nationalities, where the environment is an environment of togetherness and unity from different backgrounds. I think the policy from the Premier League during the last 2-3 years with the stop racism has been really strong, but apparently we have a still job to do. So I will continue being in the side of the people against the discrimination, and that's what we are doing. And of course, giving all the support to our players, to Kyle and to Armel. And I think nobody should get this kind of comments, not in the social media, in any place. So I'm with my club, I'm with my players, and then I'm against the discrimination.
He's an experienced player. He's done a lot in the game already. Has he been okay this week, Carl?
Yeah, I think when you analyze also my situation now, you cannot take in consideration a lot of comments regarding social media. Unfortunately, or fortunately now, everybody can express themselves, but you don't need to take in consideration every point of view, especially when it's disrespectful. So I think they are grown-up men, and they took that how it is. You cannot evaluate every comment, especially the ones that are disrespectful, and I think they are in a good place.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul, what are you expecting from Brentford tomorrow? How big a test?
I think Brentford has been really good during the season. I think Thomas has built a strong project for the last 4.5 years, and I don't expect more or less than the team that they are, and a strong team, difficult to beat.
It feels like a lifetime ago, but it was only a month or so that Saints went up there, and the performance was poor. There was all the fallout afterwards. How difficult a day do you remember that being for you?
Well, I remember that was a difficult day. That's what I can tell you. Yeah.
The post-match interview that Nathan did afterwards made it clear to us that, it wasn't all united behind the scenes. We look at the team now, and it seems everyone really is pulling in the same direction. How pleasantly surprised have you been? How surprised have you been at how quickly that togetherness has come back?
Well, not surprised, but I think when we took the team, it was clear what we want from the team, and we were clear in what we already have in the team. So I'm not surprised, if that's the word. I think it was there every time. I think sometimes just take some decisions to bring it up and bring that togetherness, that the others can see it and everybody can follow. So I'm not surprised of that. quickness in football. I don't know what it is, you know better than me. It's about the next result sometimes. But I said 4 or 5 months ago when I took the team for the Sheffield Wednesday game, I said many times that the dressing room is strong. We put a couple of things in place. I think that helped for the boys to be free to go and express themselves. And I think what I can say, if you don't compare with what happened before, is that we are in a really good place, and we need to keep being in a really good place. That's a challenge now, to keep it there and then to make it even better.
One of your players told us this week that you've focused a lot on mentality and telling them to trust their partner, whether that's in defence, next to them, ahead of them, all that sort of thing. They're undoubtedly all very talented footballers, so is that the thing that has been missing, the reason why they're in the...
Well, I don't know if that's the thing that has been missing, that, to be honest with you. I know that's my way to coach them. And for example, every time we have a game, or we have a game and we have a game plan, there is a mental part of it and how we play in different situations, not from the football perspective, not from the tactic or technical or physical, from the mental. And for example, when we went to Manchester to play, the mental point was trust. Trust the process, trust the coaches, trust your teammate on the right, on your left, trust what we can do, trust even if the result or the situation is not with us. So for every game we have some different mental points, but one is a key point independent of the day, the kind of team that we have in front, or the kind of performance that we want. So it's a big part of our coaching, and I don't know if it was there or not before, but it's now for us.
So I apologise, because I think every time we've spoken I've harked back to the thing, you've only been a manager for 4 weeks or whatever, but I wonder how hard is it to get your head around all of that when you've got to do tactics and team selection, and then, you know, identifying which players you really have to focus on, the mentality and understanding players and that sort of thing. How have you managed to get all of that at the front of your mind and so on?
Well, I think you have two parts on this. As a manager leading the strategy on the pitch and for the players, you need to have clear what is the big picture. And the big picture should involve everybody. And then you should go through the details. And then you should connect those two things in many ways. And it's not the easiest part. So you need people who understand what you want and who understand how to do things. So everybody needs to feel that the strategy and the way you do things, they have a role to play on that. And that the role give for them some freedom and put some strengths that they have on that. So the big part is about time, reflection, and be clear with your message. That's why we decided to pick some of the principles that were there before with Ralph, because that makes it easier to go back to something that the players knew, and it also fit with our philosophy, or with my philosophy. And then we try to implement some of the things that we thought, because of the kind of players we have, it can work, like the game in possession. So putting those things together is about, again, habits, daily evaluations, meetings in the morning, talking with the players, knowing which player can do which paper, which player need to do other paper, which player can support, which kind of relation between 2 or 3 players can make the dressing room more powerful. That comes from the evaluation. So this is what that's what we are trying to do.
And as far as the trying to, obviously the back, you've been very solid, but then the plans and the patterns of play to create more chances, I think we're seeing more improvement in that area as well. You've only had a couple of days to prepare for this game, of course, but from what you're seeing, is that upward curve still going?
Well, hopefully it is. It is not only in that area, in the rest of the areas, because yes, defensively we have been solid, but we still need to be better. First pressure needs to have still some adaptation. Every opponent is different. It's not the same build-up that we are going to face against Brentford than what we face against Manchester United, or will not be the same for the next game. So the situations in the final third to scoring goals, I think we are getting there. I think we have our principles there. And I think it's a matter of time that we also see an improvement in that area. But sometimes you need to live with those situations, and if for some reason you cannot score, at least you need to be able to protect your goal. So we are balancing everything, and we are in every detail. And I think with every game we learn something, we have some more solutions, we can talk more with the players, more examples. We have some situations from Manchester that with a little bit better position in the last third in the box, we can score that goal. So I think we are getting there, but as in any other aspect of the game.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Rubén, just going on from that, 3 clean sheets in 4 in the Premier League is difficult for Arsenal or Manchester City to achieve. Never mind the team bottom of the table. It's a terrific effort. What do you put that down to? Why? Because you mentioned Ralph, but I would say Ralph couldn't get 2 clean sheets back to back. You've just done that. Couldn't do it for over a year. So what's been the difference? Is it the balance of risk and reward? What is it?
I don't think it's the balance of risk and reward. If you see the games, if you see the game in Manchester, if you see the other games, we are able to try to play forward and to have the ball, being in possession, be dominant. I think it's a question, and it's team, but it's also the way that we play. We wanna defend higher. So when you defend higher, and then you have some ball wins in the opposition half, that makes you reduce the number of times that the opponent is in front of your goal. So that helps. If you have a clear plan in possession and you can keep the possession of the ball in the areas that you want, and then make the penetrations on the movement that you also actually want to get for the game plan and against the specific opposition, that also reduce the time that the opponent has the ball, reduce the chances that you concede in your goal. So if you reduce that, and then you reduce the big chances into a 2 or 3 per game, and then you have a goalkeeper who is able to save it, then you reduce a lot the equation. So that's the question. It's not more. It's not like we are focused on the clean sheets. I know what it means for us, and we know how we work, the principles that we have in the game. But the game is attack, defense, transitions, set plays, and we understand the game like that. I think the risk reward it has been properly there, but we are not taking some offensive part to stay with a clean sheet. Sometimes the game happen like the situations like against Leicester, when you are pushed back in the last 20 minutes and you need to defend. And then we are happy to defend. We have a strategy to defend. And you can concede a goal, yes, in any situation of the game. Being high, being low. But when it is clear and everyone understands the role, they can just play that role in the pitch. And if, as I say, if they trust each other, then it's much easier.
Obviously at Old Trafford you had to deal with the pace of Rashford, particularly of the front players, maybe Sancho. Now you've got a Brentford side who love to play the ball fairly direct and push you and play down the channels wide and try and turn you round. So how good do you have to be to keep them away from your penalty area because you want to press?
Well, absolutely. We need to be in our top. It's not other way. But every game, if we are not in our top and we don't give ourselves the chance to perform, then we cannot compete against anybody. So we will need to be in our top. And Mbembo, Wissa, Dan Sganiski play as a winger. It's a little bit different type, but if they play with the 4-3-3, they can play with another system. They are all players that can attack the space, and they can be in 2 touches, they can be just in behind your back 4. So it's a different challenge, but we are ready for it, and we will solve the situations. We already have the game plan, we already work with the team, and then you will see it tomorrow.
And rather than focus on their front 3, who cause a handful, you've created a front 3 in the last couple of games that have pace, can hold the ball up between them, and with the wisdom of Theo, knowing when to time runs and playing off the shoulder, you've given defenders something to worry about with him and Camaldine's pace. How pleased are you with that as a 3, because it's a great mix of youth and experience and then Shay's strength?
Well, it's not only them 3, it's also the rotation that we do in every game when we have the substitutions that it gives for us some solidity. So not only them 3, Carlos is occupying his space in that 10 position or in between the lines, also attacking the space as the goal as we saw against Leicester. And when Adam Armstrong, Stuart Armstrong, Moyo Yonusi, Paul or Sekou are stepping into the pitch, they are giving for us something different, and all of them are getting playing time because we have some different necessities in the beginning of the game or in the end of the game. We saw how Sekou stepped into the pitch, how you can modify the opponent's behavior having Paul in the game, because then Eric immediately react and bring Maguire and took Martinez out. So it's not only them 3 for the game. We will need different things for tomorrow, and then let's see if we use the same players or we use different, because they are working. Everybody's working well, and if I feel I need something different, I will use it.
And just finally, when you keep playing well but you keep looking at the table and you're still bottom of the table, how hard is it to keep the players believing match to match, because they're playing well, getting results, getting points and still looking there? Is it just a matter of them having the strength to ignore that and just focus on match?
I don't think it's a strength. I think it's just what we need to do, and I think they understand the message from the very beginning. When we took the team and they were together, the situation was much complicated than now because the performance and the result were not there, and we were bottom also. Now we are in the same position, bottom, but we have some good performances and some good results in the last month. So if that stuff hasn't working for us, just focusing what we can do, focusing our direct opponent, focusing how we can prepare, focusing how they can beat the next team, and how we can win tomorrow. That's the key. So it's not hard for us to focus in what we need to do. I understand that some others, if you remember, we have that question after we won against Leicester that we were out of the bottom and Bournemouth got it, and I told you it's not very important for me because the situation can change from one day to the other, and we are exactly in the same point.
Just finally, how big a week is it? Not just because it's 2 home games in the space of 4 days, but because you've got the 2 weeks afterwards to sit on those results. So just how important could this week be when we look back in this?
Well, I don't know how important it is. How busy it is, I can tell you that it's very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Hello, Rubén. Just looking at the bottom section of the table, you've got 3 teams in the relegation zone. You've got West Ham and Leicester now above it on goal difference. Crystal Palace being pulled into that battle as well. How many teams do you see realistically at the end of the season being in this position whereby actually all 3 places for relegation could be up for grabs on the last day of the season?
The more the better. That's how I see the situation. If it's 7 teams, better than 6. If it's 8, better than 3. So more teams invited there, it's better for us.
Are you surprised that there's not maybe like a clear one team at least at the minute that are rooted to the bottom of the table?
No, I'm not surprised because as you saw every team can beat every team in the Premier League. We saw how difficult it was for Arsenal to beat Bournemouth. Liverpool lost 1-0. We did it against Chelsea. We almost won, or we draw, but we make a good performance against Manchester United. And you have a lot of examples. So I'm not surprised. It's Premier League. Every game is really hard to play, and yeah, that's it.
I think it's already been touched on that you probably weren't expecting to be manager at the start of the season. It probably wasn't even in your wildest imaginations, but it is a high pressure situation. However, how much are you actually enjoying this situation of being in charge?
Every minute. I'm enjoying every minute. I'd say the pressure that I put in myself is bigger than the pressure that anybody else can put. So I know what I can deliver. I knew what I can deliver. I didn't imagine to be the manager. I didn't come here to be a manager. I come here to support the manager, but the situation turned like that. So the pressure, I understand, but the pressure should be a privilege, and then no more pressure than the pressure that I put on myself.
And just finally, looking at Brentford tomorrow, they're still relatively new to the Premier League, and yet they're up there challenging for European places. Do you look at them as a club and say, this is where Southampton should be, and you kind of target them and want to emulate what they're doing?
No, I don't see them as a club, and I try to emulate them. I think we have a club that has their own history and model that it works. So I just trying to make even more clear what is our way to do things, and I still think that with the proper start of the season and with a couple of adjustments, we can compete against any team in the Premier League. That Brentford is really powerful, and they have been doing really well in the project for the last 4.5 years. That I like the style of Thomas as a leader and the way that they do things. Yes, but I think we have our own way to do things, and it's also really, really powerful.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the section for 10:30 this evening. We'll start with you, Jacob.
Afternoon, Rubén. How do you compare the principles of play that existed a month ago when you last went to Brentford to now? What's exactly changed?
I don't want to go there. Sorry.
No problem. In terms of the pressing triggers now, obviously you had a lot of success against Man United because they were willing to play it from the back. Brentford are a little bit more direct, they're more willing to bypass that press. How are you going to counteract that?
Of course, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a couple of solutions. It depends, first of all, the way that they will approach the game, and second of all, the triggers that they can have. It depends how they approach the game, if they come with a different system. So, yeah, we expect a team who is a little bit more direct than what we had in the weekend, but we also showed that we can live with that. And they have some good footballers, Notgar, Matthias Jensen, Danish national team, Dansgaard in between lines, so they can combine these 2 kinds of football, and we need to be ready for that, and we are ready, I think.
I think there's been 3 goals scored from subs this season, and all 3 of those goals came under Ralph. Is that a concern, the lack of impact off the bench?
No, I don't think the lack of impact is for us. It maybe is in terms of scoring goals, but it's not in terms of effort or what we want from the games. I think you can see and you can read situations when we change one of the 10s and we still have the same penetration, or we change them and we want a different thing to occupy the spaces in between the lines, or we change one of the fullbacks because we want to modify the build-up. I will not put it in those terms. I think, of course, we will want for everybody to be able to score more goals, but it's not a thing that we say, no, if we put this player or this player, they will not score, because the reality is, as a team, we didn't score enough.
Kyle Walker-Peters obviously has had a difficult time in the last couple of days, but was excellent in the game. And in the last 2 games, he played right back and left back. What makes him so intelligent that he's able to adjust positions so quickly and so successfully too?
Well, it's the same position, but in a different one in the right or in the left. I think Kyle is an extraordinary player. His ability in possession, but also to understand the system we are playing, have big value for us. And I don't need to discover. Kyle has been really good in the Premier League for the last 4 to 5 years. He's coming from Tottenham, being in the final of the Champions League in that season, playing against Forel. Then it's a player that is very important for us, like some others. And I know it can look like he had a couple of difficult days with that, but I know he will live with that and he will be ready if I need him tomorrow.
And just finally, Mislav Orsic has not been in the league matchday squads. What does he now need to do to force his way back in?
Oh, he's working hard and he's very professional. In the end of the day, as I said in the beginning, every time we will sit here, we will talk about a player that is not in the squad, because the squad is very big. And sometimes it's about my decision, and with Mislav, it's about my decision to bring some other players in front of him. We have the conversation. I communicated with him. As I say, I respect all of them, including Mislav, and I try to be clear with my point of view every time. So there is no more than no less than the others. They are working hard, and then in the end of the day, I need to decide, and that's what I do. Thank you.
Hi Rubén, another question about a player that isn't playing too much at the moment, if you don't mind, which is Samuel Edozie. I think between November and January, only a few players played in every single Premier League game. They were Gavin Bazunu, James Ward-Prowse and Samuel Edozie. Is there any reason why he's been left out of the last kind of 3 or 4 games? Is that difficult for him as well, after playing so much at a young age and then being taken away and playing a lot of reserve football as well?
Yeah, I can imagine that it's difficult for us. I have a couple of conversations with him, and I understand that it's difficult. But when we make our project of the squad, we need in his position some specific behavior, and that's what we are trying to find with him. So when we will think that he's ready to play in the conditions and in the situations that we think he can do it, and he can do it really good for us, then he will step inside. But again, it's like with Mislav or with other players left out of the squad. I have 30 players, it's big, and I need to make decisions, and I need to make decisions in concerning what is best for the team, not what is best for one individual.
And just about your defenders, your fullbacks in particular, you've been very lucky this season. Obviously, Juan and Tino have been out injured, Ainsley's out at the moment, Kyle and Romain have also had their problems as well. Is it a good chance for Mohamed Salisu to get into the team again at fullback? Because I know obviously he was on the bench on Sunday and was probably the only option you had to bring on at fullback if you needed to. Do you see that as his best chance to get back into the team at the moment?
No, Sally can play his normal position as a centre back, even from the start, or to play as a left back. But I think Sally has been exceptional in all of our time. I think the first and the second game he was not selectable, and now he's fully ready. And then it's for me to make a decision. He has obviously the chance to play tomorrow, to be even in the lineup. And if he's not in the lineup, he will have his chance to step into the pitch and perform and do as well as he knows how to do it.
And how pleased have you been with the centre-backs you've got at the moment? Armel and Jan have done fantastically well, and a lot's been said about the clean sheets that's been kept underneath those two. How impressed have you been with what they've done?
Well, again, I'm not impressed. I know the potential of those two. And as a couple, it's about relations, and they work well in the relations. So they just need to do what they do, and then they just need to improve a little bit in some of the areas that we want them to improve. And they are doing really well, so fantastically well. Let's see if tomorrow we can repeat, because Sally is also working really hard. Duya and Lianco has been also putting themselves in intention to play. So I'm very pleased that I have the options to decide, and that we will see tomorrow.
And just finally as well, on Romeo Lavia, you said you weren't too impressed with him a couple of weeks ago. Has he improved in the last couple of weeks for you? Or?
Well, it's just 2 weeks, it's too short time.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Andrew?
Afternoon, Rubén. You speak a lot about sort of galvanizing the squad in terms of in their heads, in terms of the spirit, the togetherness. Are you doing things off the pitch to sort of bring everyone together? How are you sort of going about that?
No, not for the moment. Not for the moment. We have enough on the pitch to make things off the pitch. Not for the moment. I think first we need to start to build it up here, to build it up in the trainings, in the meetings, in the times that we are in the hotels, and there will be time to make some of the activities out. But no, for the moment it's just here, football related.
I'm sure you're not even really thinking about it yet because it's still a full big week away, but the international break will probably provide some opportunity at least to work closely with players, to have longer conversations, I would think, to just focus a little bit more long term rather than the immediate next game. Is that something you're looking forward to, and have you started putting together any sort of plans about how you might utilize the international break?
Yes, of course, because we need to take in consideration who is here with us, who is flying, what are the needs for them, and what are the needs from us as a technical staff to support them. Some of the players that will be here play a lot. Some of the players didn't play that much, and we have schedule a program especially for the first 4 days in the international games, that in the national week, when we expect to do some things with the players, but also with the technical staff to evaluate the last will be 5 weeks from different perspective, from different departments, and then see where we can do things better.
Makes sense. And I mean, the home form at St. Mary's is obviously something we've discussed before this season. I think it's something that a lot of people have spoken about. I believe the win recently against Leicester was the first one since Chelsea in August. I mean, I guess these sort of intangibles that aren't necessarily based on one thing or another, you know, they're more vague problems. How do you actually go about fixing it? Is it just continuing to improve performances until you get there? Do you think it's something more psychological? Because obviously to stay up you need those home performances.
Well, yeah, I think we need performances, home and away, and I think that's what we show. We step in every pitch with our best intention, respecting every opponent, and we know how we want to perform, and we know if we perform, we can win football matches. And it's no different the game tomorrow in St. Mary's than the game that we play last weekend or the game that we will play the next weekend. It's special because we play home, but it should add not any pressure. So we are just working in the things that we can control. And if we start performing well, we know the crowd will be with us, and then it's going to be even more difficult for Brentford to perform. So that's the target. Nothing really special or specific for that.
Just very lastly from me, Adam Armstrong seems to be a player that you really rely upon off the bench for those last sort of 30, 40 minutes of games. I mean, what is it about him as a player that you like in those situations?
I think Adam is very robust in his work, and is a player that every other player trusts. We know what is or his strengths. We know his strengths, and then I think for those last minutes he always brings exactly what we need. Usually it's his space into the space, final third situations, but he's also very, very generous in his effort defensively wise. So either from the start or when he comes into the pitch, I have no doubt about him, and he's a great boy. So I'm very, very pleased with his performance and the way that he is performing for us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.